Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. David is traveling to Politicon. Be sure to check out all of his panels and debates that he's engaged in this weekend at Politicon. And be sure to go over to the Benjamin Dixon Show YouTube channel and click the subscribe button. All right, let's continue with the news. I moved from Boston to Georgia, from Massachusetts to Georgia. And little did I know that actually, I didn't know. I was trying to set it up, but I did know that Georgia is engaging in some of the most ridiculous voter suppression that we've seen. And they would not be able to do that had it not been for the Supreme Court weakening the Voting Rights Act in Shelby County versus Holder, basically saying now giving Georgia, particular counties in Georgia, the ability to do whatever they want to without having to check with the federal government, with the Department of Justice before they do it with regard to voting. And now that they no longer have the responsibility to check in with the federal government, because historically Georgia, and along with other states, have historically used voter suppression tactics to disenfranchise African Americans and other minority groups. Now that they no longer have to check with the Department of Justice, they're just having a field day, creating environments where it takes on early voting day. It takes almost 3 hours to vote. I want to roll some footage, and this is from Ben Brash of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on Twitter, and you can see as he describes the situation, it took these individuals who were in line for early voting, almost 3 hours to vote. That's right. 3 hours to vote early. This is just one tactic that the Secretary of State, who happens to be the candidate for governor of the state, has engaged in to suppress the vote. They have been systematically closing down precincts across the country, across the county, across the state. I'll get it right in a second. And those counties, those precincts that they have been closing in predominantly black counties. There was an attempt to disenfranchise about 400,000 people in a purge, but they dwindled it down. And now about 53,000 people have been disenfranchised and have been purged from voting before this election, just in time. I mean, literally right at the cutoff to register to vote. So right at the cutoff to register to vote, a lot of people found out that they could not vote and that they would have to register again. And we don't know yet how many of them actually had the opportunity to register in time, because they didn't find out that they were purged until a few days before the closing of voter registration here in Georgia. Just a handful of tactics. I want to read for you a quote from the ACLU, who have focused on a particular tactic that is even more nefarious. The tactic that allows individual poll workers to make the decision whether or not your signature matches your ID. Here's the ACLU. Early voting in Georgia for the 2018 general election just kicked off on Monday, but already the state has rejected close to 600 absentee ballots or applications for an absentee ballot. The culprit? State laws that require election officials to reject all absentee ballots and absentee ballot applications if they believe the signatures within the voters' paperwork do not match each other. The elections officials making these determinations do not have any formal education or training to analyze people's handwritings and are not giving any unifying instructions on what should constitute a mismatch. It's left entirely up to them, a layperson. Georgia does not notify voters whether their ballots are rejected, nor does it provide them an opportunity to contest the determination. So you literally have people who are accepting absentee ballots who are saying, that signature doesn't match. The theme of today's show is it's a feature, not a bug. This is on purpose. They wanted this loose legislation that gave people at the polls, poll workers, the ability to make that call. And we've seen that this is what they do. OK, they hold up these institutions as something that's hallowed and honored, rather, and cherished, and something that is so noble that it could never really be touched by the sickness of partisanship. Right. And so they present this voting process as a nonpartisan process, when in reality, when you have individuals who can look at your signature and say, I don't think that signature matches, without you having the ability to contest it, or without you even being notified, it clearly it presents the opportunity for them to see a person who is voting for a candidate that they do not like and say, I don't think that signature matches. But they cover it up by saying, how could you ever impugn the motives of these poll workers? How could you ever impugn the motives of these noble people who sacrificed their time to easily? Did you see what happened in 2000? Very easily. We're in a hyper-partisan society, and it is made so by design. Right? It's a feature, not a bug. And so here we are with voter suppression like we've never seen. Well, actually, that's an incorrect statement. This is a standard Republican tactic to suppress votes. I want to play a small clip of another video that shows you from the Secretary of State who's running for governor, who not too, had no shame about a subtle dog whistle. Two subtle dog whistles in this video. The first is the person who is getting rejected from being able to vote is a black girl representing, older people. These are young kids who are role playing. But the person who got rejected from voting is a young black girl. And notice what they say in bright red at the end of the video. They say that it's English only. And tell me if these two tactics are not expressly, one, a dog whistle, but then two, a direct attempt to suppress the votes of people who for which English is not their first language. Take a look.
At a designated advanced voting location, the process is exactly the same as voting in person on Election Day. You will complete and sign a voter certificate, provide an acceptable form of photo identification, and then vote on an electronic voting machine. If you don't have an acceptable form of photo identification when you're at the polling location, both on Election Day and during advanced voting, you can vote a provisional ballot. If you vote a provisional ballot, you have 3 days after Election Day to return to your county elections office to show your photo identification for your ballot to be accepted and counted. If you don't return, your ballot will be rejected and it will not count. Please note that all election-related forms and materials, including ballots, are available in English only. For more information, please visit our website at sos.ga.gov/elections or call us at 404-656-2871 if you have any questions. This is a public service of Georgia Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp.
Today's show was made possible in part by simplehabit.com/Pakman. At this point, the benefits of meditation have been pretty clearly shown to be significant, and that's why I'm so excited that Simple Habit is sponsoring the show, which is a guided meditation app that just won the 2018 Google Play Award for Best Well-Being App. I use the app myself. All you need is 5 to 10 minutes a day. Simple Habit lets your brain go on a quick vacation that it very likely really needs. Maybe you've been thinking about giving meditation a try. You don't know where to start. Simple Habit is really the perfect way to just jump right into it. Great for beginners, equally useful for people with meditation experience. They've got quick meditations for first thing in the morning, for falling asleep at night, for clearing your mind when you're stressed, meditations for decision making, for getting motivated, getting focused, getting creative. Hundreds and hundreds to choose from. They're designed and recorded by well-known names in the world of meditation and mindfulness. And you can track all of your progress. So whatever time of day it is, whatever mood you're in, there's probably a meditation on Simple Habit that's perfectly suited for whatever you're trying to accomplish with meditation. Go check it out. You can try it free for 7 days at simplehabit.com/Pakman. I've put a link underneath this video.